Next up is the first of our sort of dynamic duos, but one actually speaking after the other. So first I'd like to introduce Rob Arthur, who's a colleague of mine at the Big Picture, and Rob is going to be talking about placemaking and cinema feasibility. And also after Rob, Hugh Stevenson, who's a partner at Anatomy Brands, will be joining and coming to talk about place and identity for placemaking. So I'll first of all hand over to Rob, who will take you through. That's great. Let's click down.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me without the mic? No. Oh well. I hope this is on. There's one point, Mark, I was just going to mention. I think repurposing is a really good point. When I've been going around local authorities talking about cinemas, a lot of those towns had cinemas historically, and they want to get back to it. So it's fascinating. But I think repurposing is the right space because it's not necessarily going into those existing buildings, but definitely into the location. I've been working with the Cinema Next Consulting and the Big Picture over the last 2 years. We've looked at a variety of locations in towns, actually at the moment from Fort William in the north to Yeovil in the south, so cover the UK and Kazakhstan. But if you take, say, site appraisals, catchment analysis, master planning on the vision and strategy, we get involved in that. I don't think there's any point in just talking about a cinema. You have to talk about the overall strategy for the town, what its expectations and aims are. A cinema on its own will not work, won't satisfy demand. Viability and procurement, there's different ways to, and actually different offers, as Mark, you highlighted, different offers, different expectations. Consultation and consent, we get involved in a variety of projects with those in that, and we bring in specialist architects. I've worked on projects over the last several years where there's just an expectation of placing boxes into a screen and it'll all work. It'll actually all end in failure. Delivery, Cinema Next Consulting and the Big Picture, where we've seen failure in a location or where there's been a lack of capability to deliver an operator, we've taken on that role. And we provide support to asset managers in a number of locations now where they need that operational support. It keeps things moving, keeps areas viable. So I'll go back to Rotherham twice in one presentation. I was involved in Rotherham earlier this year on a project. I'm sorry about the image that's there. It has been updated, sorry Dan. But it's delving into the detail in those localities, picking up all the key points. Most towns, most areas have all of those. Perhaps it's different departments, different reports, different messaging, pulling it all together, making a really compelling, putting compelling thoughts and points together, really adds to the vibrancy of it. And when we were looking at footfall, traffic flow, the catchment analysis, I actually think, without selling it too hard, I think there's a great story in Rotherham that's been untold historically. We also looked at Dartford, and I think sometimes I've spoken to operators or so, or end users, and they say, well, don't like Dartford, it's always been secondary, it's always poor. There's a theatre in town that generates 250,000 admissions a year. Combine that with a cinema, combine that with the Oyster card, London Transport is now moving out there, it starts to build a compelling story and regenerates the town. So suddenly, there's potential to have maybe 3, 4 restaurants, a nice town centre area for all the new residents, and it's one of the highest growth in terms of, say, population. But I guess most people look at all operators as being the same. The vision is the same. I just thought I'd read something out. It's a sort of vision piece that I presented to one local authority, but I thought I'd just read it verbatim. I put it into standard form because it could be your local authority or your community. So if the redevelopment proposal aims to restore and develop the town centre and to create a cultural hub which better links the current art provision with a world-class cinema and entertainment venue. That would be a key. The ambitious plans for the future of the town will combine a sensitive redevelopment to a key town centre site with best-in-class digital cinema technology. When complete, the cinema will screen a range of content from blockbuster films to documentaries, educational screenings, live relays of theatre, popular and classical music, comedy, opera, ballet, museum tours, and a regular cinema programme. They all happen now, and in some localities, especially the further away from London, regional centres, they work better. Venue should no longer be consider itself just to be a cinema. It's an entertainment and multi-arts venue with an ever-broadening offer driven by the developments in technology, flexible distribution, new types of content and local demand. Innovation has provided an opportunity to deliver greater customer choice, which in turn is driving greater consumer demand. Cinema is about an experience. It's about customers engaging positively with film, entertainment and cultural events, as well as with a mix of food and drinks. You should be able to relax, engage and enjoy time together, whether that's through the live event screenings, latest blockbusters, weekend late night, occasional all-night shows, independent screenings, or lounging in the coffee bar. Venue will aim to be at the heart of your community with a team that has the skills to drive and deliver this. Venue will provide a focal point for a wide range of activities and events, including the numerous previews, events live from the Royal Opera House, Royal Shakespeare Company, National Theatre, virtual reality, esports, PlayStation gaming, 3D, 4K entertainment, football internationals, documentary festivals, satellite Q&As, even via Skype, festivals, trade events. So live theatre, conference, music and comedy programmes can be delivered by cinema operators. It's a venue in the town centre which will be welcomed by those who have stayed in the area for many years and also those who are recent or new arrivals. Cinema adds value, vibrancy, credibility to the town. Local traders, clubs, societies, community groups, they'll all be welcomed at the cinema. It has to blend in and mix with the town. So with your support, the operator will ensure that the cinema connects to the education community and in particular local schools. As an opportunity, local film screenings or events each year to enable stakeholders in the community to meet and reflect on the year past. That works particularly well in tourist areas. So feature films remain core to the cinema business, whether it be kids from 10 AM, Saturday morning, families, midweek afternoons, weekends, possibly membership programmes, to enable the local community and those who go most regularly an improved offer. The venue should be a welcoming place designed to accommodate a variety of customers at all parts of the day and week, and at prices which reflect local income levels. I think that was well highlighted, Mark, in your area. Online ticketing to make sure that the operator makes it as convenient as possible for customers to book tickets in advance, connecting with social media, such as well. And customers will book sometimes up to a year in advance for live events, Royal Opera, National Theatre, Metropolitan Opera, such. So it's being able to call in. It's also important to be able to call in while you're in town, in particular in town centres. So it isn't just about what the cinema provides for the customers, it's about how the business behaves in the town. So the cinema should give local people the opportunity to see a film, provide employment in a key industry sector, and enable staff to reach out into the community and work on projects and initiatives that will ensure that the venue becomes a cultural hub in that town centre. Cinema development should not be about self-promotion or profits today. The selection process for the cinema is essential. Not all are the same. We place the cinemas into... Let's move on. We place the cinemas into a grading group with all the, gradings and groups. Experience around content are just for the masses. They're relevant in a variety of locations and areas. And in some localities we go to where we'd really like arts cinema. is that really relevant to your town, or is it relevant elsewhere? So that is how, essentially, selecting the cinema operator in your town will build a sustainable business for the long term. So in summary, a cinema venue in a town centre should be open for business every day, be reflective of everyone, be a place to meet for a film, live event, coffee or meal. It needs to fully utilise each area of the building, the technology installed, provide a flexible, affordable, transparent box office and online booking services, and it should create local jobs directly and indirectly. So the 6 to 9 o'clock economy is really critical to that, so restaurants, shops and such. So the economic impact isn't just the cinema building, it's all around. I would highlight that the slide should have been up there previously, but there is such a variety of offers in market now, from secret cinema, one end of the spectrum. They probably generate £5 million or so on a limited release, special events, could be up to £100 per ticket, to the BFI, where it could be £3 or so for a second run movie. And all the operators are moving in different directions and different stages at the moment. I think, Keith, yes, you'll come on to the light at some point. Odeon have moved from just being about showing a film to growing. The light are moving from, yes, having 1 or 2 sites to building more luxury locations like this. It's subjective. I put it up there to be challenged, so I'm really keen to have the feedback on it. Okay. In terms of regeneration, pleased to see that Michael Black is in the room from Ashington today. And that's a really good example of a location where regeneration, sustainability, employment, community development, and additionality in the area are all critical. There is no cinema between Silverlink, Cramlington, north of Newcastle, and Edinburgh, 100 or so miles. And when I was asked by Arch Developments to get involved in this and looking at the town, there was a lack of self-esteem in the town, but when the customer surveys went out and asked, would you like to have a cinema, it threw up an incredible answer. I think, Michael, was about 90+%. Yeah, which was amazing. Then a secondary town centre survey of all residents, and it still threw up the same number, which is amazing. So the likelihood is, fingers crossed, that something will move forward there in the near future. Okay, so we have to look at the vision, the public and private sector parts of this, cooperation and commitment from all parts. You've probably heard that message regularly today already. Development strategy that precedes. Covenant strength, or so, it's always been a byword. It's always led to a select group of operators being involved. We're seeing much more flexible approaches to that now to ensure that the correct operator meets the demands of the local community. And I think that needs to be an open discussion. There's probably some work that we've done around that. And I think the wow factor for the town, it needs to be an operator, a cinema, a development that engages and wows the community for now, for the next 25 years. They're not all the same. They're involved in Spalding, in a multi-art centre. It's fabulous. It's just a theatre. They're under trades now. It's going to have a theatre, 3 cinemas, regenerate the town centre. It's actually got a very low, it's got a high occupancy level, but it doesn't have a 6 to 9 o'clock economy. So this is going to create a much more vibrant local area, 4,000 new homes going into the town. It's losing money for the local authority now, and we've demonstrated that it will improve. So just to summarise, cinemas are changing. It's not just about the box, but we're sure that the best is still to come. Thank you.